Hey guys, and welcome to part 18 of my playthrough of Bloodborne at 60 FPS. And so in this episode I will start the Old Hunters DLC. So before we start the DLC, we return to Odin Chapel, and as we go outside we find that the old lady has been killed. Presumably she was killed by beasts while she was out trying to source some extra sedatives for the hunter. So as we go back into the chapel dweller will again be very upset by the fact there's been yet another death.
I only wanted, they told me it with my mum, oh, I shouldn't.
So starting the DLC is quite simple, so we just go outside, and at this point, depending on where you are in the game, you might see the Amygdala or you might not. However, at this stage we will see the Amygdala because you're already past the pale blood moon phase. Of course, you will need the eye of a blood drunk hunter before you actually start the DLC. So whether or not you can see the Amygdala here, there's a specific spot you stand on where the Amygdala will grab you and will transport you to the hunter's nightmare.
And their children forever true.
So after the cutscene, we have now arrived at the Hunter's Nightmare, and this marks the beginning of the DLC. This is quite a tough DLC, and you're bound to notice a spike in difficulty from the main game. And the starting area is probably one of the hardest starting areas of any of the FromSoft DLCs. And from the start here of the DLC we will encounter different enemies such as the Blood Drunk Hunters, who you will find have some new DLC weapons that include the Beast Cutter. There's also the Beast Hunter Scythe, which is a similar kind of variant of the Saw Cleaver. And there is also the Boom Hammer. You will also find parts of a new outfit, which is the Old Hunter outfit, which I actually quite like, and is one of my favourite DLC outfits in the game. Also, as you go up the stairs of the cathedral ahead, and a kind of monstrous large figure will appear at the doors, and these guys hit really hard with their weapons, and they also have a very powerful AoE attack, so you need to be really cautious around them, because yeah, these guys hit real hard, and they can kill you quite easily. There is also a key item that we need that is inside the cathedral, but at this stage we don't really need to pick it up, so I will come back for it later on. And as we veer off here and take the path down to the right side, we will come to an area where there is a huntsman standing behind some automated machine guns. Now you need to be very careful because obviously the machine guns can kill you quite easily. So there are actually rock structures here that you can stand behind to avoid getting hit by the machine guns. And here I lure over the huntsman that is standing behind the machine guns by throwing a pebble at him. This will bring him over so we can kill him and get him out of the way. After this we can then safely destroy the machine guns. And as we enter this building, if you go downstairs, you will need to watch out for a trap, which has some timed explosives where you can walk through to actually collect the boom hammer itself. So when you get this weapon, make sure you run out very quickly, just to avoid being killed by the explosion. Unlike me, because I got killed here. And here we can meet a new NPC who is Simon, and Simon will appear throughout the DLC, and Simon will give some key information relating to some of the characters within the DLC itself.
When drunk with blood, you've seen them before. Aimless, wandering hunters, slavering like beasts. This is what the poor fools have to look forward to. So, don't be brash. Turn back before it's too late, unless you've something of an interest in nightmare. Oh yes, I see. You sense a secret within the nightmare, and cannot bear to leave it be, as if the spirit of Bergenworth lives on within you. Such inquisitive hunters will relish the nightmare, but beware. Secrets are secrets for a reason, especially when the secrets are particularly unseemly.
So as you go down these stairs here, your path here will branch off into two directions, so you can either go left or right here. And I always get confused by which path is which here, but here I take the path which leads into a cave. So in the cave it's quite dark, so it's best to equip a torch or turn on your lantern. You will also find a hunter who is using another new weapon, which is the Gatling gun. And if you kill him here, he will drop the Gatling gun, but he can be quite difficult to take on, so for now I just decide to leave him and come back to fight him later. We also pick up yet another new weapon, which is the Amygdala arm, which I did use for just a short time in the DLC, and you will see me using that soon in the episode. And the Amygdala arm itself is actually quite a fun weapon, and it has quite an interesting moveset, which is quite different from most of the weapons in the game. And here I take the other path, which leads towards an area where there's lots of crows, and there is also another hunter armed with a beast cutter. The beast cutter itself is also a pretty good DLC weapon, and as you can see it has quite an extended range in its transform, and I've used this weapon quite a bit in the past, and yeah, it's quite good fun. And the R2 attack is also great because it has quite an extended range. After killing the crows and the hunter, we can climb up this ladder, and on the other side of this ladder we can drop down to another area where we will encounter two nightmare executioners. And these two executioners are the same enemy as the one that we'd seen emerge from the cathedral. And here they carry a new DLC weapon, which is the church cannon. And the church cannon can do big damage, so again here it's best to stay clear of these guys and use the rock structures for cover to stay out of their way. And down here below, you will find one of the best weapons in the DLC, which is the Whirligig saw. Which is of course a fun weapon because it's basically a large buzzsaw on a stick. And this is also a really good strength weapon, which has an S rating when it's maxed out at plus 10, making this a really viable weapon for strength builds. And just before I finish this episode, I return to the Nightmare of Mensis here, and I take this caged elevator down to actually find the brain of Mensis. So this area is pretty dark, so you're best having a torch or using your lantern here. And it's also easy to get lost here. So on leaving the caged elevator, you take a right turn and basically head straight on until you find the brain of Mensis. And the brain of Mensis itself is a pretty ugly, grotesque looking creature. So yeah, I wasn't too keen to actually use the torch to kind of actually see it, because his appearance kind of freaks me out a bit. So what we need to do here is use the make contact gesture, and you need to stand and use the make contact gesture for at least a minute or two. After this you will get one of the best runes in the game, which is the moon rune, and it's the highest level moon rune. And with this rune you can farm lots of blood echoes, and it also even stacks with the other moon runes. So that's it for this one, guys. In the next episode I will take on the first DLC boss, Bloodwig. So that's it for now, and I will see you soon.